Hey, good morning, everyone. This is UC from iTradePrice. It is May 1st, around 10:40 Eastern. Okay, so what you're looking at is a chart of futures NQ. I have Fibonacci levels as well. So it looks like the 50% retracement from the COVID low, right, all the way from here is around 12,212, right? Which aligns nicely with the monthly pullback level, right? So just a sort of a quick view, if you follow fibs, that can be something that you can consider, okay? But overall, let's actually go at the QQQ level, right? QQQ also 50% retracement level is around 295, which aligns nicely with the resistance level and which became support level previously on the way up, right? So just something that you can kind of keep an eye on. But here's the monthly view overall for QQQ. All right, so we had these nice bottom wicks in the previous months, but it failed to translate into any upside follow through even on this hammer bar from previous month. Sellers kept in control and kept on pushing the price down, and we managed to close actually below the low of the previous 2 months. So that's just a bearish sign in itself, right? If we continue to move down the down channel, or this psychological level 300 can be a good downside target, and you can see that was sort of the resistance on the way up, and as we broke above that, right, we saw some top wicks retest off that level and then move nicely to the upside. And now we're seeing move towards that level if the market kind of continues to remain weak, which it does, it looks like, right? In a weekly view, you can see just lower lows, lower highs, and just closure towards every week is on the lower end, right? So there's no bottom wick. So that means no buying pressure occurred towards the close of the week. Even in the daily time frame, you don't see any bullish day seeing any upside follow through. More volume is on the selling side. And it's just any bullish days you see, they kind of overlap each other, right? They are not really aggressive where you will see minimal overlap. So, which is not the case in the bearish days, right? So that means still the pressure remains to the downside. Okay, for SPY, let's go and look at the monthly view. Similar structure, right? It has broken down its upside momentum where since the past few months now. Again, bottom wicks did not see any upside follow through. And this past month was a bearish trend month, closed towards the low end of its recent structure, right? Recent bearish structure, so 402. And then if you maybe drill down into weekly time frame, have a better view of in terms of where the channel down trend line sort of can be the downside target if it continues to move down, right? You have lower lows, top wicks, all those things. So unless or until that changes, or we can get back above 425 or something like that, it's just the structure remains weak for now, right? Amazon, monthly bar, big move to the downside based on the earnings, right? Broke down below 2800 as well, and now it's closed below 2500 for the first time in the maybe the last 2 years or something like that, right? Still have the COVID run started around 2040. So if I zoom out, that's where 2256 is the area where this long-term uptrend line is. So maybe on a further push down, that can be the downside target if it breaks below this channel as well. To feel any bullish, I don't think unless or until we can get about 2816, right? Kind of where it broke down from all this structure, it's hard to be bullish. Yes, you can have bullish days, you can have bounces, things like that, and we'll just as a day traders evaluate this at one day at a time. But until or unless that happens, the structure remains weak. Apple long-term uptrend line is right here, so we have top wicks right in a weekly time frame. Price closes towards the low end. this downside channel, right, can be a good sort of reference to consider your trades, that as long as the price is within this down channel, the structure remains weak, right? So 155 would be the level, and just below that, maybe 154, something like that, could be the level that it breaks down below this long-term uptrend line, right? Volume has increased on the selling side recently, so we'll see how that follows up early next week. Okay, Tesla. Let's get into this one. Let's check out a monthly view, right? So if you look at the monthly view, right, just and step back for a second, on the way up, this area over here was the resistance, and then we saw a nice breakout to the upside, right? Was it caused by earnings? Who knows? I don't remember, but probably, right? And then since then, really not any big upside follow through above that, right? It just gets sold anytime it gets above that, and this trend line has been the sort of the reference point for higher level, uh, you know, bias that you can form, right? And now it closed right where it opened its previous month from, so we're right there, right? So if I go into the weekly view, 973, right? Remember, that was the level we were looking for it to go below to kind of short that name, and that paid us really nice this past week. And earnings really couldn't do much because we saw a top wick based on the earnings and a nice follow through to the downside, right? Now, if you drill down into a daily view, it is just consolidating towards the low end of its previous week, right? With top wicks, no bullish day. So unless or until that changes, the structure remains weak, right? And you can see there is a little bit of this channel that we can make something like that. So if we see any move to the upside, I think 1008 becomes your first initial upside target, right? And then we'll see if it can get above this downtrend line to further target 1092 level. But unless it can get above that, the structure remains weak, right? This was sort of the area that it was holding, and once it gave up, now it's holding this level around 870. We saw a little bit of bounce from 821, so giving up that would further target 756. Okay, so we'll kind of take a look at that as we go. Square, nice downside channel still. 103 was the level this week that we were targeting to see if it can get above that in a lower time frame to start feeling any bullishness. But now with earnings coming up early in the May time frame, we'll see how this one trades. But similar structure, right? Bottom wicks, no upside follow through, and this could be I don't know, looks to a bear flag on a higher time frame, right? Something like this, yeah. I mean, where any bullish week does not see any upside follow through to get bulls comfortable. In fact, it just kind of keeps on rolling down, and now maybe we see a little bit of move to the upside, back test this channel that it broke down from this past week, and then boom, a move down. But yeah, we'll just play it one day at a time. For right now, you can see more aggressive price structure is on the downside. Upside days, bullish days, don't see any follow through, right? This congestion zone with top wicks and this channel to the downside. Okay, NVDA, higher time frame, pretty weak because that's not how a bullish chart looks like, right? We broke below the bottom of previous 3 months, and it's just closed the chart below that even, right? So if it gives up 177.8, then definitely 158.9 is in the cards. Again, we'll just go at 1 week, 1 day at a time. But here's the weekly view, lower lows, lower highs. So you really feel bullish, right, in this name overall. Higher level speaking, you really need to get above 228, right? We have 2 touch points there. So unless or until we can get above that, structure remains weak. Yeah, sure, we can see some bounce with earnings probably end of the May. Could see some traction on the upside where it kind of hugs this bottom channel trend line and then moves up a little bit till earnings to as some sort of a momentum trade or something like that. But for now, if you want to play that trade, it has to get above 201 because that's sort of the higher level resistance from this past week. So, and plus this will be the level where it gets above this down channel as well. So until or unless that happens, pressure remains to the downside. Microsoft monthly view, really weak, broke down this uptrend line in a monthly level. So that's just a bearish setup in itself. And now it is holding the lows, recent lows, but it's just, let's see if in a weekly time frame, yeah, it is it's so weak, right? It couldn't get above this 293 level, as we have multiple touch points at that level for since the past few weeks. So that becomes an important level, sort of a swing high to look for on any upside move before we start saying yes, it's getting reversed, it's reversing, or it wants to go touch this down channels top trend line, right? But if it gives up this area right here, that's a breakout trade, because that would mean it's giving up its March lows as well. So 265.9 becomes the first initial target, and then maybe it wants to go and hug this bottom trend line of the channel, right? That can be something that we can keep an eye on. AMD, believe similar structure to NVDA, but on a higher time frame, it is below its uptrend line. So that's a bearish move in a weekly time frame. It happened in the past few weeks, right? But top wicks closes towards the low end of the week. So this past week it did give a little bit of overlap, so maybe it's slowing down, but again, we're not going to try to guess and catch the bottom. We will, we want to see some weekly bullish bars to start seeing some upside, which can happen because we have earnings early next week, and we'll see how that one plays out. But overall, if I kind of zoom out, 72 is the area where it has bounced from, in in the not too far history. So if that happens, that 72 is the downside target on any further weakness, or if it wants to go there on earnings and then bounce from there, something like that, right? But if it gives up that, then 52 is the the bigger level to target on the downside. Okay, I think we covered most of the names. Let's see if we are left with any. Let's do Google maybe. Okay. Similar structure. It is actually weaker than other names, again, just like Amazon, because it has given it has broken down below its channel, right, that it was trading in. Lower lows, big bearish days, bearish weeks as well. Earnings are out, so no strength. And now I think 2145 can be the area to target on further selling to lean bullish. I think let's see it in the daily view. It really has to get above this down channel in the daily view. And I think there's just these structures that's forming right below this 2509 level. We have this structure and we have this 3-day structure. So if it can reverse above this one, then we can start seeing some bullish momentum coming back. But unless or until that happens, right, with the way sellers have been in control, it just feels like it wants a little bit more lower, right, the way it's trading. So we'll just take it at one day at a time. Okay, let's quickly look at SPY as well. I don't know if we did earlier or not, but here's a monthly view of SPY. Yeah, I mean, it has broken down, or it is actually attempting to break down below its previous month's lows right now. So 402 is the downside target, as we have some touch points there. Below that, 362.4, which is the 50% retracement level of the Fibonacci move, if you want to take it from the COVID lows all the way till a few months back, where it kind of hit its top, right? So that can be the target on the downside here if it breaks down below 400, psychological support level, and that's where we have a major support level, right? 402 and then 389 are sort of levels to look for on the downside to feel bullish in this name. Let's go into the weekly. Yeah, you really have to see a bounce from 402, right? Just structure-wise, it would feel more confident in that kind of move from risk and reward perspective as well, right? I mean, reversing from here, sure, we can see that because it's just still at the low of its sort of February time frame. But if it gives up that, we have seen quick bounces once the market gets to this level. But this past week, we did not see that bounce. We'll see if that happens, or if it gives a pause bar here next week. but right now it just did not see that. Okay. So that was the video for this week. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, whatever, please let me know. We'll be happy to address that. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your weekend.